moratorium in New York. What's the mood, or do you have any insights on what's happening with the landowners up there?
I've got some friends who are involved with the New York landowners. I don't know. I just don't know. I got enough problems figured out what's going on down here. I just really don't know. There was a group in a couple of counties, Rome, Sullivan, Chemung, Steuben, that were approaching some Texas folks about using non-water fracking, propane fracking. I'm not sure how that has worked out. There's a number of, they're desperate. Landowners up there are desperate. They would like to enjoy what some of their southern neighbors are enjoying. And I think it's a terrible thing that we've shown, we see, those of us who live up there and who travel up there, see that this gas production can be done in a safe manner, and the woods are still green and the grass is still green and the water flows. We know that it can be done. And I think it's a terrible shame for our neighbors just to north of us not to be participants.
We did let one New Yorker speak in tonight. So Kim Moore is with us, and she may be able to add some perspective on this. She lives in Otsego County.
Yes, I live in Otsego County near Cooperstown, New York, which is one of the hot spots other than Ithaca. And we are desperate for the jobs and opportunities that you have here in Pennsylvania. And I come down here as often as I can to try and bring the good news back to New York State. When I was listening to some of the opportunities that you were talking about with your schools and what's happening with your education programs and how your students are being able to graduate from high school, I visited Elk Lake School, and I had speakers from Elk Lake. The superintendent from Elk Lake came in and met with our landowners groups in New York. And the fact that you have high school students that are going through training programs, which is equivalent to our BOCES programs in New York, and they're able to graduate from high school after just a few months of training in your high school program and come out of that with jobs that they're starting and they're making over $100,000 a year. It's unfathomable to me that New York State is saying no to this. We have students that are in the BOCES programs in New York and they'll never see that amount of money. They're going to be working at McDonald's and not able to support a family, not able to have an apartment or a house. They're going to be living with their parents, not able to afford health care. These are issues that New York just cannot continue to say no to. And one of the other things that I was listening to when you're talking about the taxes and how the revenue from gas drilling in Pennsylvania is helping handle your tax situation. In New York, we're very blessed with the fact that we actually did have gas drilling. There's something called the ad valorem tax. And in New York, gas wells that have been drilled or may be drilled in the future, each well is assessed at the value, like a house is assessed at a certain value. That well is assessed at a value in New York. It's separate from what the landowners pay because you've leased your land to a gas company, and the gas companies in turn have to pay a tax on that. And that ad valorem tax in a town where I live, and I have my property, there's 28,000 acres in the town of Otsego. If 14 acres were developed, 14 acres, 7 well pads, 2-acre well pads, that would completely eliminate the entire tax for the township of Otsego. So every single person that pays taxes in those towns, whether you live on a quarter-acre lot in the village or you have 175 acres in the township itself, every single person is going to realize that savings, and that money goes back in your pocket and it goes back into the community, and you're able, as Shelley pointed out, you go out to dinner, you go to the movies, you have money that you can actually afford to have the addition put on your house so your kids are in separate bedrooms. Or you can paint your house if you go down to a hardware store, you're putting the money back in there. Or you're putting the roof on that got blown away or washed away in floods. That money goes and it stays in the communities, and that norm tax does not go to the state, it goes directly to the municipality. So when you're looking in a one well pad, when these wells are assessed, because I believe the well pads further ourselves, they are assessing those wells at about $5 million. So each 2 acres, you're looking at over $400,000 a year that's generating in taxes for a community, for just 2 acres. And you multiply that by 7 or 15 acres being developed at a time, and those numbers add up. You can't look at that and say that that doesn't change a community. Our schools are being completely annihilated with the migration of people from our area. They won't stay. They can't afford to raise a family there. They're moving to Ohio and Pennsylvania. And, we're losing, our schools are being shut down, the teachers are losing their jobs, the industries are leaving, and we need this. We need New York to follow Pennsylvania's example and allow drilling to happen as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Okay, one last question. Anybody? I'll get one more person. Yes.